Welcome to another edition of Around Africa, a program that dedicated to educate and enlighten all Africans about the potentials in Africa. As Africa is the largest, now it's a continent with the largest deposit of mineral resources worldwide, and Africa is the future of the economy of the world. And today we are very lucky to have in our midst the Ambassador of the Republic of Tunisia to Nigeria, Ambassador Mohsen Antit. We are going to discuss the how bilateral relationship between Nigeria and Tunisia fares and the way forward. You're welcome, sir.
Welcome. Well, thank you very much for your organizing this sequence. First of all, the history of diplomatic relations between Tunisia and Nigeria dates back to 1962. Tunisia opened an embassy in the capital city, Abuja, in 1990. First it was in Lagos, then in Abuja, while Nigeria opened its embassy in Tunis only in 1997. So as far as these relations are concerned, the legal framework regulating relations between the two countries includes a large number of cooperation agreements, MOUs, concerning different fields. So fields, I mean, in politics, in economy, culture, and many other fields, of course. Okay, the efforts made are to revive and activate a number of agreements and memorandum of understanding that would further enrich the legal framework for bilateral relations.
Your Excellency, you speak about the history. And when Nigeria established its own embassy in Tunis and when Tunisia established an embassy in Nigeria, you talk about economy, political and other ties, which you have already mentioned that you are ready to review them.
Of course, we are continuing our efforts in order to move ahead with our brotherly Nigeria in order to enhance these relations to an upper stage. The embassy is currently continuing its efforts to introduce a new dynamic to the bilateral relations between the two countries by focusing on important sectors such as the economic one. And when I say economic sector, I mean also investment. Investment between the two countries is a very important matter.
So you talk about the investment.
Yeah.
Now it is now gradually Nigerians are now discovering potentials of Tunisia. Recently, Nigerians they have traveled a large number to attend a program which is Tunisian Africa Business Forum. A lot of Nigerians were there. They have seen many potentials now. Now Tunisia is now open to other African countries.
Yeah.
So how ready are you to strengthen such relationship, especially inviting other countries like Nigeria to Tunisia to see what we have on the ground?
Yeah, well, it's very clear. So, you know that in June 2024, a great forum took place in Tunis. During this forum, about 35 businessmen from Nigeria participated. And it was for the first time. Why for the first time? Though there had been other fora that took place in the previous decades, but they were not too successful. Today, we are organizing a multi-sectoral economic forum, which falls within the framework of keenness to strengthen bilateral relations between the two brotherly countries in the economic and investment fields.
So you talk of the multi-sectoral economic forum.
So this is the reverse, I mean the reverse sense, because the Tunisian delegation that will participate in the forum is the first of its kind and of its size. From Tunisia to Nigeria. In June it was from Nigeria to Tunisia. So there will be a delegation of about 20 eminent businessmen, of course, to visit Abuja due to the efforts made by the TABC, I mean the Tunisian African Business Council, and the embassy itself. So,
okay. You're making points on the upcoming program. So, which sectors of the economy are you expecting to participate from both Nigeria and Tunisia?
Okay, so this is a very good question. Why? Because people were not conscious that about the so many sectors that are open to Nigerians from Tunisia. Tunisia is open to deal with all the sectors of industry and to provide Nigeria with any product produced in Tunisia. Okay? This is a way, of course, to develop both countries, of course, and to develop West Africa in general, due to the human potential in this region and significant economic potential and favorable climate for investment and attracting businessmen to our country, and vice versa, to attract Tunisian businessmen to Nigeria. So, the Tunisian side has previously interacted with the Nigerian side. It's regarded by receiving a Nigerian delegation of more than 34 businessmen and owners of economic institutions.
So actually, Your Excellency.
Last but not least, that this economic event called FITA, the seventh session, of course, of FITA that took place in June 2024, concluded with great success through the Nigerian side initiative, and it was for the first time. Okay, it was the participation of Nigerians was considered by Tunisians as a success, because this success is going to be the basis of other events to be constructed on this event taking place in June and the other one that took place in July, I mean TABM, Tunisian African Business Meeting. It was also organized in Tunisia from the 2nd to the 3rd of July 2024, and Her Excellency, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, participated in this event on the sidelines, of course, of another official visit to Tunisia. And in this context, meetings were organized between Her Excellency and some figures of the Tunisian economy. And during this occasion, it was agreed to organize a multi-sectoral economic forum scheduled to be held next week from the 9th to the 30th of September, under the supervision, of course, of the MFA, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment. This event is likely to give a new and diverse charge to the economic and political relations between the two countries, because it's the biggest one, the biggest visit in the history between the two brotherly countries. So, the organization of this forum in Nigeria is in itself part and parcel of the framework of adding a new momentum to bilateral relations between Nigeria and Tunisia, and at the strongest economy in the West African region. So West Africa is a very big region, and Nigeria, making part of this region, is the biggest country and the most powerful one, the richest country in Africa, the most powerful economy of Africa, and this is in itself, I mean, a reason to go ahead with Nigeria, because Nigeria needs Tunisia and Tunisia needs this country. So it's very, very important to be kept in mind.
So, Your Excellency, you have made several points. You have even jumped into my other questions. So, you made several concrete points, which at least these two countries, which are brothers for quite longer, will meet on the economic basis. Nigerians will see what Tunisians can offer to Africa.
Yeah.
As Tunisia is the gateway to Africa from Europe.
Yeah. Tunisia is not only a gateway to Nigeria or to other parts of the Western Africa, but it's a gateway for Europe and for Africa, because its location is in between the Mediterranean and Africa. I mean, it's Tunisia is located at 60 kilometers far from Italy. Okay, this is in itself a big point. Okay, and it's in itself part and parcel of Africa. We are all Africans. We are all living on the African land, and the potential of the two parts, I mean, Nigeria and Tunisia, is so enormous, and you know about it. That Nigerians and Tunisians are convinced today that they are completing one another in many economic sectors. They will be completing one another in a spirit of brotherhood and good faith. This is very important to be kept in mind.
So, Your Excellency, let's digress a little to the cultural aspect, culture and education, which are going simultaneously.
Yeah.
So, what do you have on the ground in order to at least enhance educational bilateral and cultural bilateral between Tunisia and Nigeria?
So, this is a very important question. Why? Because I always repeated that the main sector to work on is culture. Culture is very important to enhance bilateral relations between two countries or two peoples, because we should construct a cultural basis in order to be receptive, in order to understand one another as far as economy, politics, or any social questions are concerned. This is very important. So, you remember that 2 months ago, or even less, I visited another state. I mean, Kwara State.
Kwara State.
Yeah, I was invited by a university, and it was for cultural reasons. So I gave a speech at that time, and I insisted on the fact that to be ready to enhance exchanges, cultural, educational, research exchanges between the two peoples, two brotherly peoples. Okay, so we are sharing many similarities. We are living on the same continent. The greatest part, of course, of Nigeria is the Muslim part. We have no problem, of course, with religions and with other cultural differences, but we are all Africans, and the priority is for Africans. So Africa is for Africans. This is to be understood by anyone, of course, who wants to enhance bilateral relations between his or her country and another one. Today it's a question to deal with Nigeria. Nigeria is very important for Tunisia. The potential is very strong. Very strong, I mean, from different points of view. You have a population of 230 million people. I mean a market of 230 million people. They need the products of Tunisia and of other countries. Tunisia is well placed, of course, in North Africa to provide Nigeria with any product she or it needs. This is in itself, I mean, a major reason why Tunisia and Nigeria will gather efforts in order to work together, moving ahead, modernizing their partnership and modernizing their industry.
So, Your Excellency, on the issue of education still,
Yeah.
does your country, Tunisia, has any scholarship scheme for Nigerians?
Yes, of course. I mean, every year, of course, Tunisia, not only, of course, with Nigeria, but with the majority of African nations. We are receiving students from all countries in Africa and asking, of course, students in Tunisia to be free, of course, to be registered in African universities. There is a form of reciprocity between the two nations and the two peoples. It's up to students from Nigeria to go to Tunisia. They will be welcome. They will be obtaining scholarships in order to study there. So this is entering in the circle of reciprocity between the two countries, these two African countries. We have this model, of course, of reciprocity with other nations, but we will be eager to receive students from Nigeria in order to be one of the first steps towards enhancing our relations.
So, Your Excellency Ambassador Mohsen Antit, finally, what is a message to Nigerians and the Tunisians living in Nigeria?
Yeah, I mean, last but not least,
Okay.
you should understand that Tunisians or North African people are also Africans. Okay? Are also Africans. Why? Because things are changing today. Things are changing today. We are living on the same continent. People everywhere in Africa should be conscious that Tunisians, Algerians, Moroccans, and any other, of course, nationality from North Africa are also Africans. We are all Africans. It's not a question of, physical features, or no, this has nothing, we have nothing to do with this, okay? This is, of course, we should be human. And the new constitution that was enacted in Tunisia on the 25th of July 2022 strongly supports Tunisia's democracy and the aspirations of the Tunisian people for a secure and prosperous future, not only as Tunisians or Arabs, but also as Africans. Okay? It aspires, this constitution, to an inclusive and transparent reform process, which is very crucial because it's going forward to restore the confidence of the millions of Tunisians. It's also a way to encourage the dynamic role played by Tunisians in building an inclusive political future. A political future not only with Tunisians themselves, but with its neighbors, African neighbors, European neighbors, and any other people who is ready to establish a faithful relationship with Tunisia. It's also a way to encourage the dynamic role played by Tunisians in building an inclusive political future. With this new constitution, which is the most important one in the history of Tunisia, Tunisia seeks to achieve justice, freedom, and dignity. These are three main principles making part of the word or worldwide human rights. Because there is no social peace in the world or in Tunisia without justice.
Rule of law.
Yeah, so no human dignity in the absence of a true freedom. This is the reason why this institution is established and is enacted in Tunisia. And no pride for a homeland or a nation without complete sovereignty and true independence. Okay, so this constitution came to complete what happened in Tunisia and the revolution of the Arab Spring that took place in Tunisia and also in other countries belong. Okay, so this constitution came to complete what happened in Tunisia and the revolution of the Arab Spring that took place in Tunisia and also in other countries belonging to the Arab world, such as Libya, Egypt, and Syria, and other countries, of course. So, this constitution establishes a new system based not only on the rule of law, but also on a society of law. This way, legal rules are a true and honest expression of the will of the people itself, so that they accept them, I mean the people, accept them and are keen to enforce them themselves and confront anyone who violates them or attempt to attack them. So these spirits make it possible for Tunisia to move ahead with all nations in Africa, in other parts of the world, but this partnership, or any partnership to be established between Tunisia and other countries, will be based on brotherhood, it will be based on friendship, it will be based on faith, or a good faith, and based on honesty. Okay? And also on a basis, or on a win-win basis.
So, Your Excellency, finally, I have to say thank you very much. The Ambassador of the Republic of Tunisia to Nigeria, Ambassador Mohsen Antit. And I have to sincerely also thank the President of Kaskote, Alaja Sanyago, for facilitating this interview. This is a wonderful opportunity, and we are waiting to see what our brothers and sisters from Tunisia will bring to Abuja on 9th to 13th of July. Thank you very much.
You are welcome, sir.
On behalf of all those that contributed toward the success of this interview, especially my crew that are unable to come due to sickness, I wish them quick recovery. And I say, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe Time-Based TV Africa. I'm Abba Misani, saying bye for now.